In a small house in London lived 3 children, Wendy, John, and Michael Darling. Wendy, being the oldest child in the Darling family, always ended each night telling her 2 younger brothers bedtime stories. One night, after the children were fast asleep, tucked warmly into bed, something unusual happened. Wendy awoke to a strange young boy crying on the floor of her nursery. Alarmed, Wendy asked, "Boy, why are you crying?" The boy jumped up and answered, "I am Peter Pan, and I was crying because I couldn't get my shadow to stick." Once Wendy helped fix Peter's shadow, Peter had a brilliant idea.
"Come with me and my pixie friend Tinkerbell to Neverland, and you can be our mother," Peter exclaimed. "Neverland?" replied Wendy. "But how will we get there?" "Fly, of course," replied Peter. "Fly?" asked Wendy, confused. "Yes, fly. It's easy, and all it takes is faith and trust, and a little bit of pixie dust." Soon, John and Michael awoke to the ruckus and were shocked by what they saw. "John, Michael," exclaimed Wendy, "there's a boy here. He's going to teach us to fly." Overwhelmed with joy and excitement, Wendy, John, Michael, and Peter were soon flying around the nursery. Then, swoosh, they went out the window and into the night sky. "See that?" said Peter. "Second star to the right, and straight on till morning, Neverland."
"The Lost Boys live with me and Tinkerbell. I'm their captain," Peter said. "The Indians live over there, and the mermaids live in the lagoon. And there are pirates, too, led by Captain Hook." "Pirates!" exclaimed Wendy, John, and Michael all in the same breath. Wendy was frightened, but Michael and John were full of excitement. "Hook's the meanest pirate in the 7 seas, warned Peter, "but he's afraid of the crocodile. The crocodile bit off Hook's hand and liked the taste of it so much that it follows him, hoping to eat the rest." Luckily for Hook, the crocodile swallowed a clock and it goes tick-tock and warns Hook when the crocodile is nearby. Peter led Wendy, John, and Michael to his house under the woods. They entered through a door hidden in the old tree stump. When the Lost Boys saw Wendy, they shouted, "Hooray! Will you be our mother?" And Wendy agreed.
That night, Wendy tucked the boys into bed and told them bedtime stories, like she did at home for John and Michael. Life was pleasant in the cozy house under the woods. Peter, Wendy, John, Michael, and all of the Lost Boys spent many long hours full of adventures with Indians, pirates, and mermaids. Although Neverland was the most magical and enchanting place the Darling children had ever been, Wendy felt there was something missing. That night, Wendy told all the boys a story about 3 children who learned to fly and flew off to a place full of adventure and fun. While these children played all day and slowly forgot about home, their mother and father missed them very much. Wendy's bedtime story made John and Michael very homesick. Wendy and her brothers decided that they would leave for home the next morning. Wendy pleaded for Peter to come home with them, but Peter, being the stubborn young boy he was, refused.
Peter instructed Tinkerbell to lead Wendy, John, and Michael safely home. As they took off into the Neverland sky, their flight was intercepted by the evil codfish Captain Hook. As Wendy, John, Michael, and the Lost Boys were taken to Captain Hook's pirate ship as prisoners, Tinkerbell quickly flew back to Peter for help. Peter flew quickly to Captain Hook's ship to save his friends. Captain Hook was determined to make the Lost Boys and the Darling children part of his crew. However, the children refused. "If you won't join my crew, then it's the plank for you," shouted Hook. Then all of a sudden, Peter appeared. "Say your prayers, Hook," shouted Peter as they began to duel. Their swords moved swiftly, and then all of a sudden, from under the water came a tick-tock sound. Captain Hook was terrified because he knew that the sound was coming from the crocodile who was determined to eat him.
"Tick-tock, tick-tock, Hook's afraid of an old fat croc," shouted Peter, and with one final swing of his sword thrust Captain Hook into the water. Peter, Wendy, John, Michael, and all the Lost Boys rejoiced with happiness. "Next stop, London," yelled Peter, now the captain of the ship. And with that, Tinkerbell flew around the giant ship, filling every inch with pixie dust. With that, the ship was lifted from the water and filled the Neverland sky with light. As the ship returned the Darling children back to their home in London, Wendy became sad.
The Darling children crept back into the nursery and into bed. As John and Michael fell fast asleep, Wendy laid awake wondering, was it all a dream? She got out of bed and looked out of the window into the dark London sky. As she sat there wondering, she swore she could see the pirate ship off in the distance, heading towards the second star to the right.